He's really been a big key supporter for Senate Republicans and Assembly Democrats. Given the votes, what is your position on political action this year?
Well, our position will remain the way it always has been in good times and bad times, which is our local leaders, our presidents come and our board come and they look at a total record and they make a decision. Clearly, what happened this week is going to be very overwhelming in terms of decision making. But there are 3 days left, plenty of time, maybe more than 3 days, who knows, unless they all just need to go home on Thursday. But there's time for people to do the right thing, and there are some very important issues out there we'd like to see them address. And then my leaders will look at total records and we'll be guided by what they tell us to do.
So you think you could still support incumbent legislators who voted for who made those votes for Tier 6?
We could still support any legislator or oppose any legislator when we look at their total record come our endorsement conference in August. That has always been our position, and maintaining that position is the strength, I believe, of who nysut is.
Dick, I apologize, I just came into this, but the governor said today that he'd be flexible on how the 4% spending increase is ultimately going to be spent. Just what's your reaction to that, and what do you think that'll mean for just education spending writ large in the budget?
Well, I'm assuming that the governor is talking about the competitive grants. I think the governor doesn't need to be clairvoyant to realize that both the Senate and the Assembly feel very strongly about $200 million being moved. So I think he's making a wise decision in terms of where everybody else already is. We'd obviously like to see it go from 200 to 250, and we'd like to see more money come in. I understand that the governor's not prepared to support that, but we're looking for leaders to show leadership, and they didn't show it certainly during the Tier 6 debate.
Just over the last year, there's been the tax cap that's been put in place. There's going to be a 4% spending increase, but it's through competitive grants. Now there's this Tier 6 that's just been approved after Tier 5. Do you fear that your union is kind of losing some political clout here in Albany?
No, I don't think we're losing a clout. I think that the reality of the economic situation didn't have the type of addressing that we believe the legislative leadership should have been able to do, and the governor should have been able to do. This was a time that required leadership. Instead, we got bills passed at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Do you think that you waited too long to push back? I mean, you reported today that you haven't spent as much on ads in the first 2 months as, say, last year.
Well, I think that when we look at our support for the AFL-CIO, we look at the things we're doing, I think that for us, it's not about ads, it's about these people. It's about walking in and out of legislators' offices, and it'll be about endorsements in November, and those are the important pieces.
Can you discuss your decision to pull out of Somos?
Can I defend it or
just explain it?
Well, I think that this was a very, very important date for us, a very important piece of legislation last week, and you know, relationships have to be built on trust, and they have to be built on both sides sharing and understanding of the needs of the other side. And we weren't given that kind of courtesy, we weren't given that kind of respect. There's no value in being someplace where you haven't been respected. I think the Somos people stand for that, and I respect what they do. In this case, there's going to be a distance for a while.
The governor this morning suggested that it was illegal for unions like CSEA and even yourselves to base political support funding donations on one particular vote. He said, in a sense, that was buying a vote. How do you respond to that?
I guess I need to try to understand the difference between what we did and what the governor did all night long, making phone calls that he very proudly defended in your paper and others. So whatever it is that the governor could use to defend his phone calls in the middle of the night, I will use to defend the way we support legislators.
So Dick, what are you doing? You're going to do the same thing as CSEA?
We are not going to do the same thing as CSEA, not because we don't have a respect for their decision, and I think their decision is theirs. We have a process that has served us well through almost 40 years of union activity, and that process is we bring our leaders together and our board together, and they give us direction. Are they going to be heavily influenced by what happened this week and and last week and what they hope to happen in the next couple of days? Absolutely, probably more so than anything else in the 2 years.
Mario, just first of all, your general reaction to Tier 6 passing. There were some concessions that appear to be made on the defined contribution element, but and also changing the retirement age. Just your general reaction.
Well, we're disappointed that this came about the way it did. Certainly, we were able to beat back and save a defined benefit plan as opposed to a full-fledged 401k plan. We're happy about that. Most importantly, the thing that came out of this for us as a movement, after all is said and done, is that we remained unified and in solidarity, and that will serve us very well down the road.
What do you make of this still passing, though? And what does it say about Labor's overall political clout? Did you feel like you didn't mobilize in time to oppose this?
No, I thought political clout is intact. This was a coordinated effort amongst the governor, the Senate, and the Assembly. They had a plan, they implemented it, and it came out the way they wanted to. For the labor movement now, it's our responsibility to reevaluate everything moving forward. We will do that, and we will mobilize in a way that will make our voices heard from this point forward.
Will you suspend political donations the way CSEA has done?
That's a discussion that we'll have to have amongst our executive board and the labor leaders who are affiliated with the state AFL-CIO. We're going to reevaluate our plans, and we'll see where we go in the future. But we'll leave all options open, but I couldn't say now either way.
So no plans to make a move like that?
Not in the immediate future.
Alrighty.